Welcome to part 4 of the Genshin Impact Character Secrets, where I'll be diving into the many characters of Inazuma and the hidden secrets they keep in their lore. If you missed the first 3 parts of the series, feel free to click the links in the description or catch them at the end of the video. But this is the 4th and final part. The facts I'm getting are mostly from the character profiles, voice lines, and character stories instead of the story quests in hangouts, since most of the time, these blocks of text are usually overlooked by players. Anyway, let's begin. Arataki Itto. Interesting fun fact about Itto is that he is unemployed in legal documents, but he argues that he should only be 3/4 unemployed. Itto claims to be the first and greatest head of the Arataki gang, the responsibilities and duties of which he tried to explain to some Tenryu Commission officials when they came up to him to investigate a rather harmless street brawl. Unfortunately, they interrupted him not 2 minutes into the explanation before marking him down as unemployed. That designation is not exactly accurate, of course. Other than the gang's activities, which the shogunate does not acknowledge, Itto does do some odd jobs to stay solvent, usually working 1 day before taking 3 days off. Another fun fact about Itto is the many different fights he got into. One was with Yaimiko, who was sitting in his usual chair in Itto's favorite food stand. He challenged her to an eating contest, but the ramen contained fried tofu, a piece of food that Itto is horribly allergic to. He even says that the sight of it leaves him feeling queasy for 3 days straight. In the end, he persisted and even won the chair, not really out of besting Yaimiko, but rather as a trophy by the rather mortified owner of the food stand. It's unclear how much both of them ate. Itto also has a bunch of titles that include, but are not limited to, Arataki the One and Only Itto, Arataki the Oni Sumo King Itto, Arataki the Pride of Oni Itto, Arataki Beetle Gladiator Itto, Arataki the Ultimate TCG Champion Itto, and last but not the least, Arataki, he might lose but he'll never admit defeato. One last cool fun fact is that Itto wants rainbow horns. Goro. In his career in the Watatsumi army, Goro was the captain of Gargasha too, and this is what they look like! I refuse this video to be posted without mentioning just how cute these things are. Another fun fact about Goro is that he enjoys mountaineering and climbing, and actually has his own mountain gear. Kaidahara Kazuha. Kazuha's main hobby isn't poetry making or forging, but it's actually sleeping on the rock in the afternoon. Another cool fun fact about Kazuha is that he doesn't actually resent the Raiden Shogun because of his friend's death. He actually goes out of his way to say that his friend's death was within the terms of the battle, and that the Shogun simply delivered a punishment because his friend lost. However, his deeper dissatisfaction is because of the Vision Hunt decree. Kamisato Ayaka. Ayaka has smaller hobbies that aren't usually expected from the illustrious Shirasagi Himekimi. While it's normal for her to study flower arrangements and sample fine wines, she's also enjoyed making snacks, fishing for goldfishes, and reading the latest novels from Yai Publishing House. During the tea ceremony classes, she tries to use the tea leaves to indulge in some romance-related astrology. She also enjoys arts, music, song, poetry, shogi, and dancing. Her name card, Folding Fan, also states that if you're going to give Ayaka a gift, don't give her a summer fan or a throwing fan. Kamisato Ayato. Ayato helped Kazuha avoid arrest by the Tenryu Commission, but the actual methods of how he did them are unknown. Ayato only says that he has a duty to support him, and we can clearly see that in the 2.6 Iridori Festival. As for Ayato as a character, Ayato particularly likes watching people's faces contort in discomfort. If you have him as a playable character, it's also canon that he enjoys teasing the Traveler's little friend, most likely Paimon, on a regular basis. Ayato is also fond of calligraphy and receives excellent brushes as gifts during festivals or birthdays. He stores them in a lovely wooden case, all except 3. One of them, slim and well crafted, is placed on his desk. The second one is stored in a drawer at the bottom, its fine tip having seen much loving use in the past when Ayato was practicing calligraphy. Its beginner-friendly nature also saw it borrowed quite often by Thoma and Ayaka back in the day. As for the third, it is stored deep within a wooden cabinet used to store antiques, sealed with a silk bag. Excellent of make and design, it was presented to him by his mother during his adulthood ceremony. Ayato is also one of the few characters confirmed to know about the Traveler's origins as being a mystery. He actually asks the Traveler about their journey before Tevat. Kujo Sara. Kujo Sara says that the most distinctively Inazuman item of all time is not actually a blade, but it's a lacquerware carving of, and I quote straight from her voice lines, statue of Her Excellency, the Almighty Narukami Ogosho, God of Thunder. She places these statues in specially placed display cases and would clean them whenever she returned home. If she could not be there, she would arrange for artisans to perform the maintenance job instead. It's also kind of funny that her character story goes out of her way to subtly take a jab at Sarah's life outside of her duties to the Shogun, saying, and I quote, "To someone like Sarah who lacks friends and who is too busy to have much of a private life, the Raiden Shogun is not merely a deity, but also a form of repose." You do you, character story 5. You do you. Another neat fun fact is that she's actually interested in hiring Thoma to clean the Tenryo Commission estate, if he ever quits working for the Kamisatos, that is. And last fun fact is that Sarah has expressed great respect for both her allies and enemies, but her responsibilities and overall disposition has stopped her from reaching out to anyone beyond the professional level. She said that she wanted to play Go with Ayaka. She also has deep respect for Kokomi and Goro despite being her opposition. Still, she does get sentimental when she feels that the happy atmosphere of Inazuma just isn't it for her. Also, did you know that during the beginning of her training, the soldiers actually thought she was a boy because of how early she began? Kuki Shinobu. Fun fact, after Kuki's arrival, the gang's business scope extended to a lot more fields, which is weird. From legal consultation, business negotiation, banquet catering, and clothing customization. The fact that the Arataki gang is even legally allowed to deal with businesses has got to be the weirdest thing, honestly. But because Kuki Shinobu just has that many certificates, her, and by unfortunate circumstance, the gang's, credibility shot up by a lot. Another cool fun fact about Kuki is that she has a lot of job qualifications and actually says that being in the gang means she has a lot of free time job hunting and working on exams and reading books. So you can really tell that she likes being in the gang despite their more logistical problems. Raiden Shogun. Fun fact is that A actually mentions something ominous in her voice lines about the Cataclysm, specifically a thing that appeared 500 years ago that left her fearful. A also has this weird habit of overestimating humanity because she says that she loves desserts and that if someone gets cavities, you can just replace your teeth. In the Raiden Shogun's ascension lines, she also mentions 3 stages of her journey: Shoden, Chuden, and Kaiden, which are actually stages of the Menkyo System. The Menkyo System is a Japanese term meaning license of total transmission, according to Wikipedia. And there's actually a 4th stage known as Hidden that isn't included in the Raiden's voice lines. And last but not the least, the mysterious technique that A used to create the puppets was a Conrian technique according to the Balladier's story. Sangonomiya Kokumi. Okay, I really wanted to keep the information here limited to stuff that was in the character profiles, but I just really wanted to say that Kokomi and Yai Miko writing to each other is a really cute fun fact about her. They're both pen pals, and I find that adorable. But moving on. Kokomi states that she actually never had the intention to be the Divine Priestess. Actually dreads that role because that was an obligation given to her as a succession. It wasn't like Jean's title of acting Grandmaster that she holds with grace or tact. Kokomi instead has deeper fascinations about military strategies, and she herself wants to become an advisor. But because of her bloodline, she has no choice but to be the leader instead. Sayu. Sayu's ninjutsu art, Yuhu art, actually has a bunch of neat tricks under it. It's known for escape, silhouette vanishing, aura concealment, and clone techniques. Its aesthetic flair is also one of the many reasons that Sayu has been invited to festivals and whatnot. Another neat fun fact about Sayu is about her outfit. Her outfit is oftentimes mistaken for a tanuki, which it's actually not supposed to resemble in universe. Sayu is fond of the huge hood because she feels that it brings her a sense of security, while the long tail is assigned for Sayu to maintain balance on the branches. It's supposed to resemble the mujina, which is instead a Japanese badger, not the tanuki, which is the Japanese raccoon dog. Shikanoin Heizo. Ah, Heizo not beating the Anemo dead friend allegations. Heizo's dead friend comes from his childhood. He lived in a remote village where his family was quite reputable and his father was a martial artist of small prominence. But Heizo didn't really like that, even though he was forced to learn martial arts alongside his father. This would persist until Heizo made a friend who claimed to be from a wealthy merchant family at a festival. This friend brought him all sorts of gadgets, from books from Sumeru to mysterious toys from Fontaine. But as they grew older, Heizo realized that his friend's clothes didn't resemble this illustrious rich merchant's son. Unexpectedly, his friend admitted to having deceived him and confessed that these knickknacks were stolen from the Merchants Guild. Regrettably enough, Heizo was furious and reprimanded his friend harshly, telling him that they're not friends anymore. He threw out all of the toys that he'd been given except for a small green pebble. The small green pebble was one that he fished from the stream with his friend, and maybe one of the few things that weren't stolen. A year later, Heizo would eventually meet his friend again in the festival they first met each other. But instead of the merry laughs and cheers, his friend collapsed by the roadside in a pool of his own blood. His friend had gotten into a fight with someone trying to steal his purse, and in turn got a dagger plunged straight into his heart. What was inside the purse, however, wasn't Mora. Instead, it was a second green pebble that they fished from the stream. This story is how Heizo got his vision. Thoma. Thoma's life in Mondstadt is actually pretty vague, but Jean and Eula are the only two characters that he mentions in his voice lines. Thoma isn't fully a Mondstadter though. His father was Inazuman. The reason that Thoma even sailed to Inazuma was because his father left one day to return there. However, Thoma never really found him. Another fun fact is that Yaimiko scares Thoma no matter how much he wants to deny it. Yaimiko. Yaimiko sheds. Alright, that's as weird as that's going to sound. But during a particular incident with Isa Bathhouse, which is an Atlan-styled hot springs, she might have accidentally shed some fox fur during the soak. What in the world that means is up to you to decide. Another neat fun fact is that as a young kitsune, Miko would attend the Hyakumonogatari Daikai, or the Great Meeting of 100 Tales, where the yokai would tell their fascinating tales and stories, even though they're not completely true. And one final fun fact about Yaimiko was that during the incident with the Raiden Gokuden, Miko was the one that interceded between the Shogun's final judgment and the numerous clans that were involved. She rescued the Kamisato clan in an hour of peril, and thus the Kamisato clan was spared from dismissal. In her character's stories, some people actually suspected that the Guji knew something was off about the whole situation, which is now that we have context from the Iridori festival, it's possible that at the time, she had an inkling that Kunikuzushi might have been involved. Some people also speculated that she had talks with the Kamisato, but the whole truth of the matter is unknown. Yoimiya. Yoimiya actually has a bunch of knickknacks that she sells on occasions. From marbles that bloom when they knock into each other, to tops that chirp like birds, to dragonfly toys that change colors when they fly, Yoimiya has a lot of things. So much so that Itto actually buys from her a lot. And that's it for me today. Those are just my little pickings of the very deep character stories of Inazuma, and I've honestly only scratched the surface. I really suggest you read them for yourself, and this is just little bits that I find fascinating. Anyway, my name is Aster and thank you for chilling with me.